Okay, so we're getting started here. So I am excited to introduce Nancy Matthews, who is many, many things. You're a mom, a coach. I wrote this down, a heart-centered business coach, which I think
Mhm.
totally nails you. And the co-founder of the Women's Prosperity Network. And the name of that, who doesn't want to be a part of, if you're a woman, who doesn't want to be a part of a prosperity network, right? So I would call you an all around Renaissance woman. You're both wise and hip. You got it all going on.
Got it all
So
going. Or I,
thank you
I
for
look
being,
like I do anyway. No
yeah,
kidding.
behind the curtain, right? Well, we all have some of that going
Of
on.
course, yeah.
And maybe that's what your story will be about. Who knows?
And the key is, for because there's always going to be stuff going on for all of us. The question is whether we let that stuff stop us,
Yes,
throw us, put us in bed for 3 weeks.
right.
What do we do when the stuff shows up?
That's so much the point of this. So yes, exactly. The whole idea, I love hearing people's unstoppable stories. I love the idea of pushing through a challenge and feeling that sense of triumph that only comes because you had to pick yourself up off the ground a few times, perhaps, right? So I think, my real inspiration is that we all get inspired when we hear others' stories, that we can relate to it. It's real, and it helps us when we feel like, it's near impossible to continue on. We all get there at sometimes.
Yeah.
So, as we were saying before we started the recording, you probably have a dozen stories you could share. So, go for it. Whatever, a
Yeah.
story that you can share that is speaks to your resiliency.
Yeah, I got the one that came up just before we started the interview today was how Women's Prosperity Network came into being. So in 2002, I went into business for myself and I started as a paralegal services, then I got my mortgage broker license, then I opened a title company and had massive success. So you're talking the years 2002 through 2007,
Mm-hmm.
massive boom time. And I was in the legal field before that, so people knew me and I had a good reputation, and uh, people respected me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important thing for all of us, right?
Yep.
So what happened with the title company is I had massive financial success. The business grew very quickly. Things were going really great. I was doing real estate investing, and it was about 2004, 2005. And I remember being very cranky going into the office every day. And I was working a lot. And I sat at my desk one day and I was like, oh, this isn't what I meant to create when I started my own business.
Mm.
And what happened was I ended up recreating my job.
Right.
It was like really the same thing I was doing in the law firm, except it was all mine, which means, yeah, so all the money was mine, all the
Right.
responsibility was mine, all of it was
All of
mine.
it. Yep. Yep.
So that was when I started on a path of trying to figure out what is it that I love and I would really love to do. So I started, as you teach and work with people, that self care piece. I was a single mom and I was just doing what I knew to do to provide for my family. But what about providing for me?
Yeah.
So I got some coaching and support on discovering what is it that really makes me happy? What would I love to do? And that was a 2-year discovery process, but I knew I wanted to let the real estate and the title company go. And this is before the crash, let me just say. Like I had all of this going on before the crash
Yeah.
really I knew I needed a change. And I started teaching real estate investing. So that's how I got my entree into speaking. Was I was speaking on real estate investing because people kept asking me, "Hey Nancy, you're doing all these deals. How do you do it?" And I would teach people one on one. My sister Trish and I, and then we started doing seminars and workshops, and that's how I got into the field of speaking and training and coaching and all of that.
Right. Right.
And I was at an event to get better at public speaking because I sucked. Just saying, good at it.
Yep.
And at that event, the instructor, Tony Martinez, changed my life when he asked this question: why are there not more women in this room getting speaker training. Speaking is one of the highest paid professions, and we need more women stepping up like women, not women acting like men as leaders and teachers. And something in me just like had me jump out of my seat. And I was like, that's me. And I assumed at that moment that it was going to be for real estate. I would be like the next Barbara Corcoran on real estate in one of those big gurus. That's how I saw it. And a woman there approached me and said, hey, Nancy, I'm starting a women's seminar company. Would you like to come on as one of the partners as our real estate expert? And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. So I started working with them and letting go of my title company and all my real estate. I handed over all my business to someone else and just kind of extracted myself from that. So now we're in 2007 and the market's still high. Everything's going great.
Yep.
And we really didn't know what we were doing when we started this women's seminar company. So let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was having a blast. I was flying all over the country and I was doing this and doing that. And everything was leading up to this huge event in Los Angeles in November of 2007.
Ooh.
And
timing.
I know the timing was really extraordinary. And I had invested about $75,000 into this new business venture. And everything was hinging on this big launch. And we were expecting 500 people to come. And my little intuition had told me about 2 months prior, this isn't the right thing for you, Nancy, but I didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I go forward. There were 50 people, not 500 people.
Wow. And
I was deflated. I get goosebumps when I think about it to this day. I felt like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I had given up the source of income that supported my family as a single parent. I shut down my title company where I employed my 2 sisters and my best friend. Said, go find something else, right?
Right.
And now I have this new venture that's a failure. What WTF am I allowed to say?
I was just thinking that. Sometimes that's all that you can say.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And the night of the event, my sister Trish was with me. I'm flying home on the red eye, holding my head in my hand, crying, not knowing where I'm going to go. I just spent all this money, and I heard in the back of my head this voice of a woman named Kathy Dudek. And Kathy Dudek was someone that I met when I was in this path of, we were creating this women's company, this women's
Mm-hmm.
seminar company. And I was like, we want something different. We want a place where women can go and be women, shine in their brilliance and their excellence, and have women support each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy heard me talk about that at a networking event. And she said, Nancy, I'm in. We need this. I need this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Kathy's voice in my head on that red eye that had me say, there's just got to be another way. Mm-hmm. Like that wasn't the way, but the thing we're doing is good. So don't give up.
Right.
So, how do you become unstoppable? It's remove your ego. Mm-hmm. And get back to why you wanted to do something. And listen, tragedy happens, death, financial challenges. Like there are so many things that could happen in people's lives where you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
But I invite you to find just one thing that's good. And then you take one step and then another and another. And P.S., we regrouped. I went into business with my 2 sisters once again, and we created Women's Prosperity Network back in December 2007 is when we started.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Your timing was incredible because you must have felt so smart when the crash happened the next year.
Well, full disclosure, I got burned big time.
Yeah.
I was very heavily invested in real estate, and I took a beating, man.
Yeah.
But you keep on going.
Yeah. Well, sure. And I mean, it's the only time we ever learn anything is when we fall on our face. When
Mhm.
you're coasting, you're having a great time, and you don't want to not have a great time. And yet, that's not when we learn
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Well, and and from that too, I would say that there were many times I thought about going back because it wasn't easy starting Women's Prosperity Network.
Hmm.
Bring, new concept. We had to look at what's the other competition, what are other businesses are doing this, what's our secret sauce, and how are we going to do this? And we're starting off, the three of us. We didn't have coaching at the time, like all the things, all the products that I've created and programs that I've created since 2008. I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So
Got to start somewhere.
you got to start somewhere. And it was tempting to want to go back to what was familiar. And
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons I didn't was because I had that other wake up call after I built the real estate business. And I was like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. Like, I got to tell you, I love that this is my job, meeting people like you, supporting other entrepreneurs and
Hmm.
visionaries. And like, how blessed am I that I get to be a tiny little part of making the world a better place through every person that I get to work with. Like,
Hmm.
that is freaking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. Good stuff comes when we find that unstoppable spirit and we keep driving. And I think as long as we know, when you're on the right course. You may trip and it's not what you look like, it's not the timing you thought, but we know, we still, even through all the muck, I think we really know in our heart and our gut when it's the right thing.
Yes. And that's why working with someone such as yourself to show you how to listen to that voice rather than the voice of fear, doubt, and worry
Hmm.
is vital.
Yeah.
And that the answers are here, but what are the voices that we're
Hmm.
hearing that can lead us in other
Yeah.
directions? So
Yeah.
I love the work that you're doing and the woman that you are. So thank you for this space that you've created for me
Thank
today and
you.
for everybody you work with.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there's some statistic out there that I remember reading at another um, forum about how, whatever it was a big number of the success ratio of women that are support. If you're a part of a group, if you're part of a network, a community,
Mhm.
it's over the top. So we all need to find our tribe. We need to find a community, a mastermind, because and it can show up in corporate America as well if you have that kind of a community, but women really need this, and we don't get it typically in the male dominated businesses either.
Yes, and I think one of the keys that's important about that is that you cultivate those networks and relationships while you're feeling good.
Hmm.
So we talked about this, we alluded to this a few minutes ago. It's you got to set yourself up for success while you're feeling good because there are going to be days you don't feel good. So
Right.
when you have that network out there, then I might be like, yeah, I haven't heard from Sherry in a while. What's she doing? Because we tend to isolate when things don't go well.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
hide, don't, retreat
Right.
into our cave. And that's
Yeah.
where you need that network already built up to be there for you in those times.
Absolutely. Great wisdom here.
Mm,
Thank you.
you are most welcome. My pleasure and my purpose.
There you go.